Hey guys, so we are talking about balancing rations this week. And what we will do is we're gonna go up until we hit the Pearson Square. And once we get to the Pearson Square, we're gonna stop. And I'm gonna focus on Pearson Square next week because it's a little bit mathematic. It's got some mathematic equations, and you gotta be able to do a little bit of math. Don't worry, because it's really not that hard. If I can do it, I promise you guys that you can do it. Okay. So first thing, what is a ration? Well, a ration is the total amount of feed an animal consumes in a 24-hour period. That ration it needs to provide the right amount of nutrients needed by the animal during whatever particular life cycle stage. So um, if it's a calf, what do they need? If it's a mama, what does she need? If she's pregnant, what does she need? If she's in gestation, what does she need? If she is, you know, providing milk for that baby, what do they need? All that kind of stuff. So a diet, a diet is the next thing, and it's the type and amount of feed an animal receives in its ration, and they should be based on the needs of the animal being fed and the nutrient content of the feed available. We're gonna focus on the basic steps for developing a ration, and we'll first step is that you need to determine the nutrient needs of the animal. So you're looking at what kind of animal it is, how old they are, what weight is it, what's the function of the animal. Um, that way we can formulate this ration. So, like for example, a mature sow that is feeding that is feeding piglets, that nutrient required for them is different than the nutrient requirements of the newborn piglet. Okay, so those nutrient need requirements are called feeding standards, and it's based on average requirements, and it may not meet the needs under specifying like the feeding conditions, and adjustments could be made if there's something unusual with the conditions. So, like for example, cattle that are in a pasture in New Mexico, they may not. It may be really dry, and there may not be much nutrients available. So you have to adjust like your feed ration for that animal. Okay. Same goes for these like horses here. Uh, Looking at the different types of work they do and how much dry matter they need. That dry matter converts to crude protein. Um, you know, how much digestible nutrients they get, and whatever the nutritive ration is. Okay, so we got to be able to identify the feedstuffs, and a feedstuff again is an ingredient used in making feed for animals. The producer must be able to choose which feedstuffs to include in the ration, and it's the nutrient value is whatever's available. Okay, identifying feedstuffs. Um, The nutrient content of any item can be found in a composition table. And this composition table, I'm not going to worry too much about this, guys, because it's really not like for you guys. Values given in this table are average values and may not represent the actual composition of the feed being used. And nutrient analysis can be done if the producer wants to know exact nutrient values. We are not going to do nutrient analysis because that's like taking math and science and putting them to a next level. It's not something that we can do, that I want to teach in high school. Okay, that's something that you could do later on in college if you took a specific like feeds and feeding class. Like right now, we're just getting into the basics of it. So we got to identify the available feedstuffs, and that's determined by the location of the producer developing the ration. So, like this example says, if you're in the Midwest, you got more soybean meal because that's what's grown more in the Midwest. And if you're like in New Mexico, you're more likely to see cottonseed meal because that's what's grown more in New Mexico. Okay, if we calculate these rations, there's a lot of methods. There's commercial feed companies that use like computer programs to develop a ration. That ration could be calculated to meet the energy level of the animal being fed. Okay, and producers can develop their own rations using a simple method known as the Pearson square. Okay, and we're like I said, next week we're going to get into the Pearson square. And it's basically just a way to develop a feed ration without having to go into too much detail. Okay, so we look at the nutrient needs of the animal and make sure that ration matches up. Um, and we look at whatever deficiencies there are in the ration because we got to be able to recalculate the requirements. So if there's a deficiency in iron or something, we got to add in some iron to supplement that. So why is it important? Why is feed analysis important? A good ration should be balanced, have variety, be succulent, palatable, bulky, economical, and suitable. Okay, and then like if you're looking at young animals, they may need to be medicated so that young animals can kind of get that into their system. A balanced ration will increase gain, decrease expense, and increase profits. That's what you're looking for when you balance rations. A variety of feeds will make ration balancing easier and increase palatability. Okay, and the more palatable something is for an animal, the easier it is to feed them. A succulent ration is a that is juicy and fresh will always increase production. Okay, so we're talking like fresh grain, fresh hay, whatever, fresh grass, whatever it may be. Okay, that's what they mean there. Okay, so bulky rations aid in digestibility because they're higher in fiber. And remember, fiber is what helps digestion. Okay, bulk fiber is more expensive, is the most expensive part of the ration. You need to you rations should provide needed nutrients and maximize profits. It, feed analysis plays an important role in determining these factors that are present in a feed ration. And finally, the definition of feed analysis. It's the process of determining the nutrients in a feedstuff or prepared mixed feed. Okay. And feed analysis is most often done in a laboratory. Like I said, we can't actually do feed analysis right now. Okay. But here's a good example of what feed analysis looks like. So you got 6.9% moisture, 93% dry matter. Okay, we're going to focus on like the dry matter part. Okay, so if you like crude protein, pretty well stays the same, and that's what's fed is as fed. That's what you're looking at. Okay, but this is a good example of what a like feed tag would show you. Okay, information gained through feed analysis is important in selecting diets of animals to assure a good balanced ration. Labels on feed containers report some of the feed analysis information. Analysis provides information in several areas, and random commercial feed samples may be tested by the NMDA just so you know they would do that just so they know you're not feeding something you're not supposed to. Dry matter. Dry matter is the weight of feed materials after moisture has been driven out. Okay, so that's no moisture. Okay, the feed quality is based on the proportion of water in the feed. Crude protein, it's the nitrogen content of feed multiplied by 6.25 as a constant factor. You want higher crude protein, okay, because that makes it more nutritious. Fat content is determined by using an ether extract process. Ether dissolves fat, it remains and is weighed as a percentage of fat. Ash is the residue that remains after the feed has been burned at temperature. So whenever they burn like all the moisture out of it, that's what the ash is. Crude fiber, that's determined by boiling the feed material in acid using laboratory procedures to just dry the feed out. It's not harmful. Okay, it still keeps all the nutrients. It's not harmful to the animals to eat that. Nitrogen-free extract, that's the percentage of NFE is determined by subtracting the percentage of water, crude protein, ether extract, ash, and crude fiber from 100. Okay, because there's 100%. Minerals, feed minerals can be analyzed for mineral content. Okay, here's an example of a feed label. And here's examples of nutrient content of selected feedstuffs. I think that's the end. Yeah. Nope. The two nutrients found in, we're looking at two nutrients found in greatest amounts, and that's protein. And it's usually, when we're talking feedstuffs, it's talking about crude protein. Okay. Um, Protein needs are higher for young, lactating, and pregnant animals, and the needs of an animal must be matched with its diet. Energy comes from carbohydrates, fats, and some proteins in the feed. And we look at like what these concentrates are, roughages. We call it total digestible nutrients. That's TDN. It's measured in calories. Calories is the amount of heat needed to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water. And calories in feed are, as a requirement, are stated as kilocalories or megacalories. Okay, and you look at kilocalories is 1,000 calories, metacalories is million calories. Um, you know, we determine the energy available for most feedstuffs. Nutritional information about feeds is used to formulate rations. Amount of each nutrient is figured into the ration percentage-wise, and this is based on the nutrient requirements of the animal. Um, it tells you how much roughage, concentrate, and supplement are needed. Okay, and here's your daily nutrient needs of selected animals. Okay, so that's like basically what they need each day, roughly. Okay, so that's it for today. Next week we're going to do the Pearson Square. And so what all I'm going to have this week is a discussion with the video and a quiz posted on Tuesday. It's not going to be too hard, guys. It's just going to kind of cover what we talked about today, and then next week we'll work on the Pearson Square, just so you guys understand it, understand how it works, and I'll kind of walk through everything with you guys there on the Pearson Square. But it is important to know. It is a good thing to know as well, and it works for pretty much any animals. I mean, even dogs. If you're looking to um, shed some weight on dogs, you just gotta you can formulate your own rations for your dogs or whatever. So it works, and we'll kind of look at how it works. So be on the lookout for the discussion, and then be on the lookout for the quiz that ties in with this lesson. And that's pretty much all it is for this week, guys. If you have questions or concerns, call me or not call me, text me, message me through Wisdom, whatever you need to do to get a hold of me. I'm usually here at the school every day. If you're coming into school and you have a question on something, just come to my office. That's usually where I'm at. So just whatever you guys need to do, and I'll be willing to help you. Or if I mess up on something, just let me know and I'll help. I'll get it fixed. So, but other than that, guys, that's all for this week. We'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.